Rocket Lab, we have an acquisition, and they've said they're one step closer to owning their own constellation. Let's talk. Guys, I actually can't believe it. I've just came off a live stream and then looked at X, and Rocket Lab themselves have made an acquisition, and they've said they're a step closer to owning their own constellation. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to break down this press release, and then you're going to get my thoughts on it. But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure to bang that subscribe button. So we're trying to grow into this Rocket Lab space and trying to get the content out quickly. Right, guys, there's going to be no personal story today. I'm too excited about this, and we need to get right into it. So this is the announcement I'm talking about. So Rocket Lab have came straight out only an hour ago and said, today we've announced a non-binding agreement to acquire Mynaric, a leading provider of laser communications from air, space and mobile applications, part of our latest strategic step towards our own future constellation as an end-to-end space company. Now guys, this is the first step towards their own constellation, and I think this is what people are going to focus mostly on. However, I think this deal is a lot bigger than what first meets the eye. You're going to see that they've done it for around 75 million, so we need to take that into consideration on how shrewd they are with this business. We see Matt Money has got there first, so shout out to Big Matt and make sure to subscribe to him because I love all his Rocket Lab content. But anyway guys, let's get into the actual press release itself. So the first thing to note that Rocket Lab are announcing their intention to acquire Mynaric. Now guys, this is not legally binding, so I want to say that from the start. It could fall through, however there's no indication that that may happen, and looking at this, you can see that it's expected to close following the completion of Mynaric's previously announced and pending Styrog restructuring proceedings under German law. But really guys, what is Mynaric? So they're a leading provider of laser optical communication terminal for air, space and mobile applications. But where does this sit for Rocket Lab itself? So really, it's going to strengthen Rocket Lab's proven capabilities as a leading launch provider, spacecraft manufacturer, and supplier of satellite components at scale. And Rocket Lab have said themselves that they may look to fund this or other opportunities with proceeds from equity offerings. So really, equity offerings are not always a bad thing for companies. We've seen Rocket Lab do this on many occasions. Sometimes it helps them get acquisitions like this at such a steal. So basically strengthen up the company and increase shareholder value. So one thing to note here, guys, when they offer equity, it is not always a negative. So don't always think of it in a bearish way. But looking at the strategic importance for the deal, Rocket Lab has stated, laser communication has become a pain point for constellation operators, with products not readily available in high volumes at affordable prices. Through previous acquisitions, Rocket Lab has proven their ability to take satellite subsystems and components previously only available in subscale quantities with long lead times and make them affordable and available at scale. And we can see this with the likes of, I'm going to say for now, Amazon deal, but we know what we think of that. We think that's happened. Rocket Lab intends to do the same with Mynaric optical terminals to serve a growing list of customers and large constellations. And this is what I think. Peter is always on the ball. He never lets you know his next move. I didn't see this coming. And this is the one thing I love about Rocket Lab. They're always on the ball. They're always being so shrewd with their money. And we can see from the approximate price of 75 million is only a fraction of the 300 million Mynaric has invested. So Rocket Lab would establish their first European foothold in Munich, Germany, with a team of 300 talented engineers and staff, opening an incremental European growth opportunities across Rocket Lab's products and service offerings. Now, the only thing that worries me about this would be subject to Trump's tariffs at the moment. However, we've discussed it on the live stream. We think these tariffs are more of a scare tactic, and we would see them getting released as time goes by. And really, over the long term, if you think we're in this company for the next 10, 20, 30 years, Trump is no longer going to be there. And there's going to be different administrations. So I don't think these tariffs are by no means a long-term thing. So then, Rocket Lab would acquire expensive production assets, intellectual property, product inventory, and committed backlog related to satellite optical connectivity solutions for next-generational constellations, augmenting Rocket Lab's already extensive portfolio of satellite components and subsystems and software. The acquisition, if completed, would support Rocket Lab's ability to further vertically integrate the manufacture and management of its own high-value satellite application ambitions. And this is the most important thing, I think, guys. This is the next step to Rocket Lab hitting that third stage of owning their own constellation. They are literally vertically integrated along the way. And it feels like this is another key component that Peter sees fit for this constellation construction. So a key driver for the proposed acquisition is that Mynaric is already a subcontractor to Rocket Lab, providing Condor Mk3 optical communication terminals for the company's $550 million deal with the Space Development Agency to produce 18 satellites for Tranche 2 Transport Layer Beta. Now guys, I'm going to be dead honest with you. I am nowhere a rocket engineer. So if anyone can tell me what a Condor Mk3 optical communication terminal is, please let me know. But what we can see with that, they're a subcontractor under that SDA deal that is worth that $500 million. So what they're saying here is Mynaric is also a supplier into other SDA contracts, and Mynaric and Rocket Lab would be an advantageous collaboration. So going further on down, the non-binding term sheet entered into the lenders provides the proposed acquisition of Mynaric by Rocket Lab following the completion of the Starrug restructuring on terms acceptable to Rocket Lab. After completion of the Starrug restructuring and subject to the execution of definitive agreement, Rocket Lab would acquire 100% of the outstanding equity interest in Mynaric. So this is a 100% purchase. Rocket Lab would own the whole thing. The initial purchase price is expected to be $75 million payable in either cash or shares of common stock of Rocket Lab, and Rocket Lab's option with a potential to additional earnout consideration based on future revenue targets of the Mynaric business of up to an additional $75 million of shares of Rocket Lab common stock or cash at Rocket Lab's option. Now, this is one thing I want to ask you guys. Would you prefer them to offer them the stock, or do you believe they have enough cash on the books? It's going to hurt some people, but I would actually prefer them to offer stock. Yes, we would get diluted. However, it just secures that cash position coming into a pivotal time in the business when we're getting Neutron over the line. We're all hopeful for a successful Neutron. However, if we've seen with Starship the last day, failures do happen. And one thing I don't want to happen is us to be running out of a cash runway and then have to do an equity offering. That would hurt investors much more than an equity offering at this stage would be. So really, guys, my thoughts on this is extremely bullish from Rocket Lab. At a time in the market and there's fear running across the whole space industry, Rocket Lab have just used this to their advantage to acquire a company on the cheap. Guys, please let me know what your thoughts are on this acquisition. And if you want to see how many shares it would take you to get $1 million in Rocket Lab under 3 different scenarios, including SpaceX's valuation, make sure to hit this video next.